Hey y'all, welcome to our channel. My name is Tracy and I'm the keeper of the home here at 4D Farms, where we are all about faith, family, home, and farm, and in that order. And we're kind of like a box of chocolates. You never know what you're going to get. So y'all just come on in, grab a seat, take a look, and have a listen, because you don't want to miss a thing. Hey y'all, welcome to today's video. Today's going to be a sewing video. You saw the title. We are going to be putting together some little girls' t-shirt dresses. And y'all, these things look so comfortable, and I've made some before. I'm thinking about making one for myself because they're so comfortable. And the granddaughters is like, oh, Gee, Mom, make you one so we can match and we can be twinsies and besties. So, okay, I may wind up making me one before this is over with. This is going to be a running video, y'all, because I have several to sew together. And then I'll pick one and show you some techniques. And then it's probably going to take me a while to put these t-shirt dresses together. It's not going to be done all in one day, but it's going to be all in one video because we are just like busy. There's days they're here. There's days they're not here. Days that I need to measure them and they're not here. So I have to wait. And then I have to do other things. So I'm like, okay, we're gonna make a bunch of clips and we're gonna piece this together for y'all to be able to do in one day, but it's gonna take me longer than that due to when they're here and when they're not. So we are going to be putting together little girls' t-shirt dresses, okay? And in the middle of this video, or somewhere in this video, I'm going to take the time to pause and show you 4 different kinds of gathering techniques. So that way you can figure out which one best suits you and the machines that you have. I have a single needle and I have a serger. You may not. So 2 of those methods may not work for you, or 1. Okay, the others is either done by hand or a single needle. So I will show you 4 different methods that you can use to gather and put these little girls' t-shirts together. You might want to practice first before you actually start putting the dresses, attaching the skirt to the bottom of the t-shirt, because you don't want to get started and then have to wind up taking out a bunch of stitches. Okay, so I would pay it really close attention to the section in the video where it talks about different ways to gather, to pick out the one that you think you're going to like the best, what's going to be easiest for you. And then we will get to start putting these shirts together, these dresses together. But I have a lot of dresses to do. I've got like 2 of each, and I've got like several to put together, and then I may wind up doing one for myself. If it don't make it in this video, oh well, whatever. At least I've got a dress to be besties with my granddaughters with. So let's get started doing what we got to do to get this dress pieced together, cut out, measured, everything, and then watch those gathering techniques, and then you'll be on your way to making a cute little t-shirt dress for your daughters. Okay, so let's get started. Measure. It did it again. Oh, okay. No. Okay. We are going to show you how to, this part, we're going to show you how to measure where you want your t-shirt dress to come to. If you want a drop waist or if you want it right on your waist. So on a kid or on yourself, because y'all, I'm thinking about making me one. These things look so comfortable and I want to match them. Just play, so I think I'm going to make me one. But when you're doing on a kid, normally you hold your arm right here and stand up straight. Okay? Normally you want to find like their waistline. If you want a drop waist, you come down, okay? If you want it to come, if you want the gathering part of the shirt, the material and the bottom of the shirt, you need to figure out where you want your waistline to be. You can either come across here, or you can come down to here, or you can do a drop waistline, okay? So on their t-shirts, we have fun around here. On their t-shirts, turn around this way for me. Right there, hold your arm up so they can see your side. So on their t-shirts, I want it to kind of be like on their hip. Okay, so you're going to mark where you want the drop waist to go. And on her pants, you can tell where the waist naturally sits. So she likes seeing herself in the camera. Turn this way. Okay, so where do you want your waistline to be? Like, where do you want the skirt and the shirt to meet? You want it around your hip? Around your hip. Okay, so she wants it around her hip. So you're going to stretch the shirt down, not too much. So about right there. Is that where you want the skirt to start? Right there? Okay. So she's pointing to where she wants the skirt to start. Okay. So you're just going to take some chalk and you're just going to, all right, show me again. Is it right there? Right there is where you want it? Okay. So you're just going to take some chalk and make a mark.
And ruin out my shirt.
Chalk comes out. Okay. Yeah, chalk will wash out.
But what if it turns into white?
Now, another way that you can do this, if they're not with you, and like sometimes they're not with me when I'm sewing something for them, they're not with me, I have measurements for them, and let's do a measurement, Atlee. Let me find my measuring tools. Are you still making faces at my viewers? Maybe. Okay. I take measurements of them before we leave to go on a trip sometimes. Okay, so you can go like, you can either start from the shoulder. You can either go from the shoulder. We'll go, let's see. Hold your arm up. What? Okay. You can go like from the armpit and like where she wants this cut. It's like 10 inches, okay? Or you can go from the shoulder. All right, stand up straight. Okay, let's see. We can go from the shoulder we can go to the front and drop down to her waist. Okay, so that's like 14 and a half. So you can either measure from here to where you want the waistline to come to, or you can measure from the armpit down to where you want it to come to. Just get your measurements. She's going to take off the t-shirt, and I am going to flatten out the t-shirt, and I'm going to cut that much of the t-shirt off. Let me have it. Okay, she wants the scrap material. We're learning how to pin. We're learning how to pin and sew and all such as that. So, be nice. We're learning how to pin and sew. I'm teaching them how to sew. So this is a good little project to start them out on. So that's how you figure out where you want your waistline to be. The bottom of the t-shirt to match the bottom of your material that's going to get gathered. And then that's how much you're going to cut off of the t-shirt. So then I'll show you what's next. Say bye-bye. Bye-bye. Okay. So she's taking the t-shirt off. We've got our mark right here. Spread it out flat on a surface. And I've gone through the other side. I'm just going to match them together because I want to make sure I get a straight line. There's my line right there. We'll actually flip it over. Okay? You just want to cut a straight line all the way across. And you're going to cut this much off. Okay, you can have that piece of fabric to sew on, and this is where she wants her waistline to be. There you go. So next we will figure out how to do the skirt part, measuring and cutting the material. Okay, so the next part of putting together your t-shirt dress for kids or for grown-ups or anything, I showed you the t-shirt, how to do the t-shirt. So now let's figure out how to do the skirt that's going to get attached to the bottom of the t-shirt. The first measurement that you want to take is you want to take the measurement from the waist to however long you want the skirt to be. So she's going to stand back right over here, Watch that little thing right there. Can you see? Okay, so I'm going to tilt this down. Y'all excuse my messy sewing room. It's been busy. Okay, so you're going to start from the waist, where the belly button is, and you want to go down to how far or how long you want the skirt to be of the dress. And then allow maybe an inch for hem at the bottom. So I don't want it too short and I don't want it too long either. So we're going to find a happy medium. And so I'm going to do about, this little dress is longer. I'm going to do, what did we say, 17 inches?
18.
17 or 18? Where was that piece of paper? 18 inches, okay, in length. And then we'll do a hem at the bottom. And I wrote it down. So 18 inches in length. Now, the next part is now we're going to measure around the waist, because this is going to be the top of the skirt on the material. So you want to measure around the waist. You're 25 around, but let the air out. Just natural. I need a good measurement. Oh, you made it good. You made it. Okay, let's do this. Okay, a natural waistline on her is 25 inches. Now, it depends on how many gathers you want in the skirt. If you want lots of gathers, you will double the waist measurements. So 50, she said she wants a bunch of gathers. So 50, you double it. If you want lesser gathers, go down in increments of 5. Like if you don't want a bunch of gathers, go down to 45, go down to 40. If you want just like little gathers, you know, just a hint of gathers, just go down in inches. But if you want lots of gathers, general rule of thumb is to double the waist measurement. Okay, she wants lots of gathers, so we're going to go with the full double. But like I said, if you don't want a lot of gathers, then go down in your inches around the waist. So next we'll start, I will show you how to cut out the material for their measurements. Okay, the next step that you are going to do on this t-shirt dress is, after you take the measurements of each child, you're going to cut out your material according to those measurements. You're going to take your length and you're going to take your width, and then you're going to cut your fabric out. Single layer fabric. Make sure you unfold your fabric and don't count the selvage as part of your measurements, because you're going to cut that off. So you're going to measure length and width and cut your material out. Okay, the first way of gathering is the old-timey way, y'all. Before the machines were invented, the way the pioneers had to do it, Ma Ingalls had to do it when she was making those pretty little dresses for Laura and Mary and Carrie and little baby Grace. So, and anyway, the first way, y'all, needle and thread. I hope you can see that thread, because it's like a cotton thread. You want to thread your needle, double it. Don't just do one strand, double it. Tie a knot at the end because you want to secure it, okay? You're just going to do a running basting stitch. A basting stitch is just long stitches, okay? Start at the end of your fabric, the top that you're going to be gathering, okay? You're just going to walk it through and take long stitches. You see how long I took? See that space in between there? Y'all, you don't have to go like this and then go down again and back through again. You don't have to keep doing that. Let me show y'all what you can do. I hope y'all can see this. Just go and just in and out, in and out. And kind of pleat it as you go. This is a fast way, y'all, to get that needle and thread in there. Now, you want to make sure, try to stay straight, okay? You do want to make sure that your needle and thread is long enough. Just pull. Okay, well, maybe not that. I just did a short one right now, y'all, just for the sake of showing y'all. Y'all see how I did that? Y'all see those long basting stitches? Okay. When you're gathering, remember me telling you to tie that knot at the end? Because when you start gathering this and you're going like this, pull your thread, pull this one or hold on to this one and start sliding it. Look at there. There's your gather. Hold on to this one because you don't want it slipping back through. See how I did that? There you go. There's you a gather. Okay? Now, I tied that knot because there's nothing more aggravating than you pulling this down this way and you don't have it knotted and then your thread is just coming all unraveled and apart, okay? You can gather as tight as you want to or as loose as you want to. See that? You can do it tight. You're going to have to shift. You're going to have to like lay it down, especially when you get ready to attach your gathering piece to your other piece of fabric, okay? So you're going to have to kind of like match. And when we do the t-shirt dresses, you will see that, okay? You're going to have to like make it fit around or along what you're sewing. Like, let me get this fabric right here. Let's just use this as a test, okay? Your gathering is going to have to run right along here, okay? All right? So you're going to have to be adjusting your fabric as you go in order to get it on that piece, okay? You're gonna have your measurements, okay? So you're gonna have to be adjusting however long you need it or however short you need it against that other piece of fabric, okay? It will all make sense when you do it. Right now the technique is just showing you 3 to 4 different ways to gather. Okay, this is the old-timey way, okay? Now we're gonna move to 2 different ways to do it on the sewing machine, okay? Before you even start doing this on the sewing machine, the first thing that you want to make sure that you have is this kind of foot right here, or a foot that has the rectangular slot. If you've got the other foot that just has the little circle up here, you're probably not going to be able to do one of the stitches that you can do a gathering way. So just go ahead and put this foot on, okay? So mine is real easy to put on. It has that little claw clip that you let down this lever and it sets down on it, all right? So you want to take your threads. Let me reach down here and get my bobbin thread. Pull up your bobbin thread. Let me see if I can grab it without cutting it. Oh, that's short. I can't get my finger up underneath there, y'all. Come on. Grab your bobbin thread. There we go. Grab both threads. Pull. You want a long thread. Okay? Then you're going to put them off to the side, okay? You want to set your machine on your longest stitches. So I've got to go up. That's the highest that my stitches will go, okay? So you want a long stitch, okay? Now we're just going to go down this fabric. You want to do at least a 5/8 inch, somewhere along in that area, because you want to be able to see this. When you get done sewing your gathered piece to your flat piece, you can go back and rip these stitches out, okay? So, where's my presser foot? Let me find my presser foot and get it turned around. It's all cockle-whited up under the table. All right, so now we're just going to do a long straight stitch, okay? Okay, so let's do a long straight stitch. All the way across. Don't cut, okay? Just raise your needle, don't cut, okay? Pull this fabric, because I like to secure my ends, y'all, and we're going to tie this end right here. Y'all, I'm telling you, there's nothing more frustrating than getting to the end or getting your gathered fabric down here on this end and it's not secure and it starts coming off, okay? Or your thread breaks. So I've got that secured right there. Now, take these strings right here. You want to find the bobbin thread. Don't pull your top thread, your needle thread. Your bobbin thread is on the bottom. Start pulling your bobbin thread very carefully and just start sliding it down. Okay? Don't pull your top thread. That's your needle thread. It'll just start coming unraveled on you. Then you just start very carefully pulling and shifting. See right here? If I didn't tie that end right there, this would just start sliding off the end and my thread would start working its way back through there. So secure your end, okay? Now, like I said on the other one, and don't let go of this thread, y'all. Don't let go of that bobbin thread, okay? You can start adjusting as you need it. You can go as tight or as loose as you need it, okay? Now, you can do 2 rows if you want to. Majority of the people do 2 rows. But y'all, if you're very careful and you secure and you don't break this thread, to me that's wasting thread, okay? Because it's going to get ripped out anyway, so I want to conserve my thread. Just be very gentle. And y'all, if you don't want to use a cotton thread like this, you can use embroidery floss and it don't break. Okay, so find a thicker thread or embroidery floss, and then do your gathering, okay? Same thing goes when you're going to have to join this piece to your flat piece. You're probably going to have to make some adjustments, pull it out or pull it tighter. You'll see when we start getting the dress together, okay? So there's the second way. Let me get set up for the third way, okay? All right, y'all, this next one is new to me, so we're going to learn this together, okay, because I haven't used this one before. You have the same principle, bringing your strings this way, but don't pull them under the foot and don't pull them over this way. Let's get our fabric underneath the presser foot. Hold on to those strings, okay? Now, we're going to hold on to these 2 threads, and I'm going to put them right between there, okay? Because what we are fixing to do is we are going to do a zigzag stitch long. Set your machine on a zigzag stitch and lengthen your stitches, okay? We're going to be hopping over these 2 threads right here. Okay, let's see if we can do this, because like I said, y'all, this is new to me. So let me adjust my fabric. Okay, I'm going to put my needle down. Now let me make sure both of my, okay, there we go. You want both of your threads going down this way under your foot. Put your foot down, okay? Both of my threads are under my foot. Don't stretch it, just keep it straight. Sew in a straight line, and you're going to hop over this thread. Where's my presser foot? And we're going to do long stitches, okay? So let's try this. Let's see how this works. This is why you want that rectangular window on this foot. One day I did not change my presser feet, and I had the one that just had the little round circle in the middle for the needle to just go straight up and down, and let's just say I broke a needle, okay? So we're going to zigzag over this stitch. It came across. Okay, let's zigzag over this. Whoop, okay, I'm getting a little wonky here. Make sure, let's just see how this goes. Oh, I should have done a little longer stitch. I'm running out of room. Okay, I'm going to have to stop right there, y'all, because I didn't leave a long enough tail. Make sure you have a long enough tail to cover the length of fabric you're going to be sewing. pull both threads, needle and bobbin, and find the one, the thread that you sewed down, that you zigzagged across. Oh, I think I'm going to like this, y'all. Take those two tails, y'all. It's supposed to be longer, okay? That's the first mistake I just learned. Okay, the string that you zigzagged over, take both of them, bobbin and needle thread, and just start oh, I like that, y'all. That is simple. And you have your two strands right there. Okay, so if one breaks, you've got, oh, I like that one, y'all. That was quick. Look at that. That was easy. If one string breaks, then you've got your other one. That one was easy. Okay, I just learned another way to gather, and we learned that together. Okay, so next time I'll just have to remember to pull my strings out further before I start zigzagging across those stitches. I like that one, y'all. Okay, so there's 3 ways. Let me show you a way now to gather on your serger. Okay, if you have a serger, my serger tells me to do this. When I'm getting ready to gather my fabric, I have a 4-thread overlock serger, not a cover stitch. I won't get into the difference between those two, okay? But in my owner's manual, it tells me to set my upper loopers and my lower loopers to, that's going to be these needles down here, not your 2 needles here. Upper looper and lower looper. To set them on 3. They're on 3. Then it tells me to set my differential feed all the way up. And that's as high. No. Yes. All the way up. No. I'm going the wrong way, y'all. 2.0. Okay? All the way up. I'm backwards, so I went backwards. Okay. So I'm setting my differential feed all the way up to the highest that it will go. The higher the number, the tighter the stitches, okay? And that's what I want because I'm gathering. So we're going to turn this around. Watch how simple this is. I'm going to let my presser foot up. Y'all, this table's going to get a little bouncy, but I'll try to go slow, okay? Where is my presser foot? Every owner's manual will tell you different kind of stitches you can do on your serger, okay? Just look through your owner's manual, okay? So, I'm going to go very slow. I'm sorry if you're bouncy. Give me just a second. I'm just trying to go slow so you're not as bouncy. This is a picnic table kind of like thing that I travel with. Okay. I'm going to cut my threads. Ooh, I need some sharper little snips. Okay. Y'all see that? Y'all see that perfect gather? You can't ask for better on a serger. You just manipulate your stitches, your needles, and your differential feed. Okay? So, that's the third. Oh, how many ways is that? That is like 1, 2, 3. This is the 4th way. 3rd or 4th way, y'all. I'm losing count. Let's see if there's another way. Okay, I had to go back and look in my notes that I took before. There is another way, y'all, that you can gather on your serger, but I don't really like using it because I've done it one time, and I had trouble, and I didn't like the way it looked. You can grab your 2 needle threads like this and just pull them tight as you're sewing. Like, hold them, pinch them, pull them tight. But I didn't like doing that, y'all, because one of these needles, the thread would come undone. It would slip out of the hole and break my thread. So, if you like that, you can research that way some more. Gathering by holding your 2 needle threads. So, Google search or something, and then 2, it got a little tight the closer I got to the end, and it was kind of like hurt my finger a little bit. So I don't really like that method. So I showed you the old-timey way, needle and thread. Then I showed you 2 ways on the single needle machine, sewing machine, and then gathering by doing your upper looper and lower looper and your differential feed. So that's 4 different ways to gather right there. If you don't have a serger is my number 1 way to gather from now on. Now, one thing I want to point out, even if you use a serger, that's a pretty gather, but you may need it tighter, okay? You may need it tighter. You can find your 2 threads. You can start unraveling your serger thread and find those 2 threads that you can start pulling. And I haven't done this, y'all, but one time because I needed something a little tighter before. But you start unraveling your serger threads. You find those 2 threads, upper looper and lower looper, that you can start pulling, and you can adjust your thread, okay? I got it a little tight right here, and I've only done it one time. But normally, what I'm sewing on, this is the right amount. It's got a little knot in it, y'all. When you are having to unwrap, there it goes. There's one of them right there. If I pull carefully, I can start manipulating this. But I don't want to pull too tight because I've only got a hold of 1 thread. I don't want to break it. But you find those 2 threads at the bottom that you can start pulling and gathering it tighter and manipulating and moving your gathering down and making it closer. There is 4 different ways to gather, okay? Serger is my favorite, but if I need it tighter and you know, I can do it on the sewing machine. And that one way where it zigzagged across the rope, I kind of like that one, y'all, so I just taught myself something new. So there is you 4 different ways to gather a piece of material. I do want to point out another tip. There's differences in your fabrics according to how they're going to gather. This is a thicker cotton fabric, okay? I'm going to have to do this one on the sewing machine because when I tried to gather it on my serger, it didn't gather as well. So it depends on the fabric that I'm sewing as to how well it's going to gather and how I'm going to have to do it. This one was a thinner fabric, so you see how much better it gathered. Now this fabric, like I have the sheer fabric on my blouse, y'all, that one's really going to gather because you see how thin it is? That one's really going to gather. So know your fabrics, thickness, thinness, sheerness, as to which method you're going to have to use. I want to show y'all one more little technique. If gathering is just not your thing, you can actually join something together and make it look like it has a gathered look by pleating it. When you pin your 4 sections together, side seams together, and your center fronts and center backs together, you're going to have all this extra material here, okay? Put it up under your machine, up under your foot, and just start holding this one straight, feeding this one in, and just kind of like making little pleats. Slow down. Just little pleats to where it just kind of evens out. Don't make them big pleats, just enough to make it, give it that gathered look. Okay? Because this material right here, I really had trouble getting it gathered and I really got frustrated. So I said, you know what? Let's do the pleat look. So then, you know, what you're going to do is you're just going to take like little pleats and just walk over each one very carefully, okay? Oh, that one just came out, didn't it? And just kind of just feed it in there and just make pleats every once in a while. Don't stretch this one, okay? And then just make little small pleats. That's it. probably just one more in between these two sections. I'm going to have to use both of my fingers, y'all, here just for a second. Don't sew over your finger, okay? And just make like that last little pleat before I get to that pin. Okay? And I'm going to do all 4 sections this way because this material was just a little harder to gather, okay? So there's another way. Just start making little pleats. Hold this one out. Don't stretch it. Just hold it out. Make sure you're not sewing any of your fabric up in your pleats. You're going to hold this one straight. Feed this one in as you go, like this, until it's all drawn up like you need it to that next point, okay? Okay, y'all, it is a couple of days later. Y'all, I will eventually get this t-shirt dress put together. We've been busy doing this and this and this and this. It's a farm, y'all. There's always going to be something to do, okay? The next part of this video, putting the t-shirt dress together, is after you've done your measuring, you've got the makings of your skirt at the bottom, you are going to put right sides together and you are going to sew the seam shut. You're going to where you're going to make a tube. You're going to sew the end. Now, if you didn't cut on the fold of your fabric, or you haven't folded your fabric, or if you've got 2 pieces that you're sewing together, you're going to want to sew side seam down here, side seam down here, and close it up. You want a circle, a tubular circle. Then I am going to go ahead and go down the bottom, serge the bottom, and then I'm going to turn it up to however long I want my hem on their knees or whatever, or just touching the knees. I'm going to serge the bottom because I don't like raw edges in hems, and I am going to turn it up about 1 inch and then sew a single stitch. Like, this is going to be my hem right here at the bottom of the dress. Okay, can you see that? This is going to be my hem. I'm going to sew it, serge it, press it up about 1 inch. I press it with the iron because I like that fine line, y'all. I've learned over the years, pressing as you go is a given. It helps a lot. I've tried to do things just fly by the seat of my pants willy-nilly and put something together and then okay. Pressing as you go always helps, especially with hems, okay? So I'm going to turn it up about 1 inch, whatever, 1.5 inches, and then I'm just going to sew a straight stitch along the end, the bottom here, and put my hem in. Then the last thing I'm going to do is go around the circle at the top and do my gathering. This is why I put the clip of all the different gathering techniques before this one. So that way you can decide which way, what procedure you're going to use to gather the top of your material. I like doing it on the serger. For number 1, it's quicker. For number 2, let me give you a tip. If you are joining something stretchy, see that give, to something cotton, there's no give. It's easier to do the serging and then pull this as I go to make it match this at the top. You'll see when we get to doing it, I can stretch this part and it automatically starts gathering it again by the time it gets back together because it's puckered. If you are sewing cotton to cotton, like you're making a little girl's dress where around the waistline it's gathered and you've got cotton on cotton, I would suggest the 2-string method and then pulling the string at the end and then holding on to the strings and then moving your fabric down the strings. I would use that technique because this cotton's not going to stretch. By the time we put this and we match this okay? I'll show you that in just a minute. Let me get this fixed first. You'll see what I'm talking about. This is easier to stretch. But the other method, I would suggest if you're doing cotton on cotton, puffed sleeves, they're going to be gathered at the bottom or, you know, or around the waist, things like that. I would do the 2-string method and pull the strings and slide your fabric as you go. Because when we get this in a tube like this, when we get this in a circle, and I've gathered it, next is matching this to the top of this, and I'll show you how, but you need to match like your side seam to your side seam, this side seam to this side seam. We'll get to that part. Let me construct this like I need, and I'll show you here in just a second after I get everything done what it's going to look like. Then we'll get to the next step. But make sure you watch that clip of the 4 to 5 different ways I showed you that you could gather to pick out the one that's easiest for you according to your fabric, that you feel comfortable with, that you have the means for. If you don't have a serger, then you'll have to use the other techniques. And then practice on something so you'll know which one to use by the time you need to put these two together, because there's nothing more aggravating than trying to get this gathered and then you have to wind up taking out stitches. Oh no, that's not fun. Okay, but I am going to, and I like the gathering method too at the top of this one because it seals my edges, my raw edges, so that way after a few period of times that it's washed, it don't start coming unraveled. That's why I like a serger, y'all. But it's okay if you don't have a serger, that's fine. You can do a zigzag stitch. Yes, if you don't have a serger, use the zigzag feature on your single needle sewing machine. Oh my gosh, say them fast. Okay, use the zigzag stitch. It acts like a serger stitch without that extra one. Okay, you'll see. So let me construct this one and then we'll get to the next step. But y'all be picking out the one as I do this and you do yours. Be thinking about which method you're going to be using to gather yours, because that's going to be the next step, is attaching this to this, and then the dress will be done. So y'all just hold on tight and I'll be right back. Okay, as you can see, what you saw me doing, I hemmed the bottom of my skirt, okay? I serged the bottom, okay, because I don't like raw edges, and then I just did a single stitch all the way around the bottom of the skirt, turned it under about 1 inch, and I made my hem, okay? I closed my seam up right here. Hold up. I closed my seam right here, okay? I'm just only going to have one seam I had to sew. The other side was cut on a fold, okay? But if you had two pieces, two block pieces that you were putting together, you would have a seam on one side, seam on the other, then go around, hem your bottom, gather the top. I did mine on the serger. Now, ow, as you can see, mine is not gathered a whole bunch. Reason being, I have one granddaughter that's getting a little more mature, and she's like, don't make mine so puffy, poofy around the waist. She wants more of a relaxed gather so she can look a little more mature and grown up, okay? It depends on the child. If it's a little baby or a toddler, something like that, preschooler, put all the pucker in it you can get it, okay? Pull that tight, okay? And then start
you'll have more gathers in it. But she's a little older, and she's like, don't make mine so poofy. So I didn't make hers poofy. That's the reason why I didn't do it as much. And of course, little Cece wants hers to look like big Cece, so they're going to match. Now, that's my gathering at the top. If you want more gathers than this, and you chose the 2-string method, you're just going to keep pulling and shifting your material down the strings. Be gentle. Don't break that string, because if you do, you're going to have to start all over. Trust me, I've done it. Now let's go over here, and I'm going to show you how to attach the t-shirt. Okay? And then we'll turn around and sew it. So let's go over here. Okay, this is all you are going to do, putting this inside here, putting this together. I'm trying to get you as close as possible. You're going to take the top that's gathered. You're going to take the bottom of your t-shirt. Don't turn it inside out. Keep it right side out. You're going to hold on to this part. Okay? You want right sides together by the time you put this in here. You're going to take the top of the t-shirt, put it down inside here, reach on the bottom, pull it down, okay? In other words, you're just taking the t-shirt, turning it upside down, stuffing it down inside the skirt to where the waist meets the waist of the skirt, okay? But don't turn this one inside out, because you're sewing right sides together right here, okay? Now, what is always helpful, find your side seam. You got 4 points here that you need to pin together first, okay? Then you can start matching the rest. To me, that's always the easiest. I'm going to take this side seam right here. I'm going to pin it to this side seam on my skirt. Pin this together. And it's going to be right sides together. You're going to do this to 4 points. You're going to take, now mine was on a fold, so I don't have another seam here, but I can see my fold, okay? So I'm going to take this other side seam and pin it to the fold. That way I know my 2 side seams are matching. Now, you're going to find, let's see, I'm going to see how much easier it is to sew a knit to a cotton because you can stretch this knit to kingdom come, okay? And see, that's going to give it some extra gathers by the time I get this stretched out, and then it pulls back together, so that way that'll give them the perfect pucker. Now, you're going to find the center of the skirt and the center of the shirt, pin those 2 together. And you'll see what I'm talking about when you start putting yours together. This makes it easier. Now find the center of the front and the center of the front of the skirt. Pin those 2 together. I have 4 points already pinned together. Now just start going and adjusting, stretching, pulling, gathering. Now go from pin to pin. Find the next 2 that needs to go together. Stretch these 2 pins apart, and I can pin right here in the middle. Now, if you've got a whole lot more gathers, you're probably going to require a lot more pins, but like I said, it's easier to sew knit than it is anything else. Now I'm going to take this pin and this pin, stretch it out. See how easy knit stretches? Okay, I'm going to pin right here. So I'm going to have a total of 8 pins in here right now. But if you've got more gathers in yours and you want more gathers, you're probably going to have more pins. So I'm just going to keep going from pin to pin, stretching and pinning. See? Stretching and pinning. Now this is going to help hold this together so I can sew it around. And I'm going to do that on the serger. I'm going to adjust my settings back to normal because I had it on gathering settings. I'm going to put it back to normal, and then I'm going to join the bottom of my shirt to the top of my skirt. All right, I think I have 8 pins in here because there's that one, there's that one. Yes. Okay, so I've got 8 pins. Now, you see how I joined that together and I just stretched? But if you are doing a different fabric, if you match all your notches and your side seams first, okay? Your center front, center back, side seam, then go and start. You may have to take this fabric and still adjust in between pins. You'll see what I'm talking about, okay? You may have to sit here and adjust to get that gathered just right in between each pin. The more pins you have in it, the more it holds it together and it doesn't shift when you're sewing. So in between pins, I'm going to make sure everything, okay, there you go. And then just, like I said, depending on the one that you chose, you may have to keep adjusting that gathering in order to get seams to match, okay? Because in other words, you're going to be pulling all this matching gathering to something that is straight. So you may have to do some adjusting as you go and do it pin to pin, so that way it's not so hard. But start with those 4 points first, then start going in between those pins, adjusting, stretching out, pulling together, whatever you have to do. Now let's go over to the sewing machine and I'm going to join these 2 pieces together. Okay, I always like to start at a seam, a side seam, or a center front seam or a center back seam, okay? Normally you don't have center front seams, I'm sorry, but a side seam. I like to start because that helps me to know what to look for to get to the next side. Now, this is what I'm talking about, knits. It's easy. See how I've got some give in there? I'm going to go from pin to pin and I'm going to stretch the t-shirt as I feed in the extra right here because I took the pin out. Okay, so now I'm having to put it back in there. So I'm going to start and I'm going to stretch the knit and the rest of this is going to feed in with it. I just like doing a knit to a cotton, but like I said, if you are doing cotton on cotton, you're going to have to manually adjust that by pulling your thread on that gathering technique, okay? Whoa, let me find my paddle down here, okay? Now I've got to watch the rest of my dress to make sure it doesn't all crinkle up on me. So I'm going to go from pin to pin. I'm going to stretch the top, feed in the bottom, making sure it stays together. And I'm going to go from pin to pin doing this. I'm going to stretch. Oh, there's a pin right there. I skipped one. Okay, I need to take this pin out before I run over it. I didn't see it. Let's take this pin out. All right, so we're going to go from pin to pin. I'm going to stretch the top. And I may go over this twice just to make sure everything is together, everything is holding. Now, if you're doing this on a single needle, you can use a zigzag stitch. There's another pin. So see, I'm stretching and feeding, stretching and feeding. This is why on t-shirt dresses, they're so much easier to gather. Okay, I'm going to keep going from pin to pin and adjusting as I go. There's the next pin. So see, I can stretch the t-shirt and feed in the bottom. I will check my work to make sure everything caught. Pin to pin, stretch as I go. And you'll see the gather when I get done. So let me finish this up. Then I'm going to reinforce it. I'm going to go around a second time to make sure everything caught. And then I'll show you the t-shirt. Okay, I've gone around it twice. I'm checking my work. Make sure everything is caught. See, I just like a finished edge with a serger. That's just me. But you can make this effect on your single needle. Now, let's turn this inside out. Okay, here it is. I'm going to draw it up a little bit for you so you can see the bottom. We'll just pretend like it's all the way down. Look at the gather. It's a perfect for her because she didn't want too much gather to look like a little child. She's a little more mature. So this is the perfect gather for her. Let me get it. See that? Hem at the bottom. And there you go. That one's going to be good for her because there's not too much pucker. She didn't want a lot of pucker. And of course, little sister wants hers just like it. But by all means, if you want more pucker, do more gathering. Pull it tighter. And there you go. Hem at the bottom, pucker, gather, and there's your t-shirt dress. I got one more to do, and I'll show you what they look like when I get done. I'll just put a picture at the end of all the little gathered t-shirt dresses that I've made. Y'all, these are so simple for kids to make. I mean, for you to make for kids. For summertime, it's so hot. They don't want any clothes on. And, I mean, they're cute. You can dress this up. You can dress it down. You can put a little shirt or a little t-shirt or something on under it. You can do some embellishments on here. You can add a little cap sleeve if you want to. That's an idea. I haven't done one of those yet. You can do a cap sleeve. You can do some embellishments here. I've got some dresses where I bought some patches, and I sewed the patches on here. I'm going to insert pictures at the end of this video to show you all the t-shirt dresses that I've made for them, and they're just prancing around just loving them. As I get one made, I hand it to them, and they just have to model it and go put it on and play. And we change dresses about 4 times a day, but that's okay. Anyway, t-shirt dress. You can dress them up. You can dress them down. You can make them plain and simple. They can wear these. I got it long enough to where they can wear these to school because it comes to their knees. So I think I'm just going to leave this one just like this because, y'all, it's pretty as it is because I love Pioneer Woman's fabric. This is her fabric. And I may wind up putting something up here at the top or something. I've got some where I did a collar at the top. I've put patches, embroidery patches. I've put buttons, I've put ribbons, I've put lace. You can make a cap sleeve out here to hang off the edge of the shoulder. You can dress this up, you can dress this down, but this is so simple to make for little kids. What little girl would not love these? Y'all, I'm thinking about making me one. What woman would like one of these, y'all, during the summer? Oh, and let me tell y'all another thing. I made a couple that didn't hardly have any gathering at all. Do y'all remember back in the 80s when t-shirt dresses came out and they were kind of the straight line? I wore one. I had 2 or 3, y'all, and they were the straighter line. I tried a couple of them and they loved them. Little sunflower dresses. They loved them. So you can do actually a straight line skirt, or you can gather it up and put as many gathers as you want in it. Like I said, dress it up, dress it down, straight, gather, a bunch of gathers, hardly any gathers for a more mature girl. This is so simple, y'all. For little girls, they're airy, they're cool for the summertime, they're not binding, they're not like wanting to take their clothes off in the heat of the summer. Okay, and you can put some little bloomers on up under here, you know, or the little body shorts if they're going to wear them to school. And, you know, little girls, you teach them, you know, keep your legs down. You got on a dress. You can't be doing all that cartwheeling and stuff. You got on a dress, okay? You can put little shorts on up underneath here, body shorts, bloomers, whatever. I hope y'all enjoy this. I'm going to get the second one done. And I'm going to insert pictures. Y'all excuse my sewing area. It can be a mess sometimes, but I'm getting projects whipped up. I'm going to insert pictures at the end of this video to let you see all of the different t-shirt dresses that I made, and each one was different. and you'll see at the end, okay? Y'all, I hope you give this a try for little girls, because this is how simple it is. Just know which method you're going to use together, and then use your sewing machines. If you don't have a serger and you like the clean finished edge on the hem, do the zigzag stitch. It will kind of like keep that fabric from fraying on the ends when it's washed. There you go. Y'all give these a try. So simple. What little girl is not going to like this? They're going to love them, okay? Y'all watch the pictures at the end, all the different kinds of dresses I've made, and I will see y'all in the next sewing video, whenever that is.